Shalom, all praises to the Most High. Anoka said, praise be to the earthly mother, the Pachamama, and all of her earthly angels, the Erkadeshwe. Praise be to the Holy Spirit, the Kahe, in the name of his only begotten Son, Motsah the Lamb. Unification to the nation. Oh my goodness. Praise the Most High for this lesson, because this is not something that I came up with. This is, again, I'm not a studious person. I just meditate on certain things, and videos just kind of come to me. And this is a prime example. And this is a absolute banger, in my opinion. Before I even make it, I already know it is, because hopefully I can show you guys some things that have been kind of hidden, and it's going to really make things make a lot more sense. So to start off, let me give a shout out to the dude Lex Will. This was a great video, and I'm going to draw. Let me give him a light. I'm gonna draw a lot from some of the things that he found. So shout out to the brother. When people read Psalms 83, they don't understand how deep this confederacy runs, because this confederacy didn't only come from across the ocean. The confederacy started here, and Edom and Moab and Ishmael were all here. I'm not saying all of them were here, but there was a certain sect of them that were here. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against the confederate, the tabernacles of Edom. So the tents of Edom, wherever they live. The Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes. Did you know that the Moors say that Mecca is actually in Chicago? Let me show you something real quick. Hold up. Let me show you guys something real quick, man. So this is what I believe to be like some of the areas of the Euphrates River. So of course it started up here, goes through the narrow passages, right? But the Euphrates River, it breaks off into multiple different streams, and even streams out into the ocean, into the Pacific Ocean, as we went over. And as you can see, there are four rivers coming from the North Pole. But one of the Euphrates rivers would be the Mississippi River. And even older, it would push more to the East Coast. But for now, let's just say it's the Mississippi, right? Okay. That's part of the Euphrates River. So I wanted to go over some videos. I wanted to play some videos to give you guys a bit of a premise for what I'm going to speak on, because it's very important. We're going to start with this one. This is the gift that keeps on giving. Let me give this guy a like. The gift that keeps on giving. Please keep exposing all of the hidden history.
According to some accounts, Madoc and some of his crew returned to Wales to recruit additional settlers, and after gathering several ships of men, women, and children, the prince sailed west a second time, never to return to Wales again.
So there was this Welsh prince called Madoc, or Madog, that came to North America one time, and then came again and never left. Right? Remember that. Madog. Magog.
Most historians claim that the legends were constructed by English and Welsh writers during the reign of Queen Elizabeth to help her legal argument in laying claim and possession of North America by the Kingdom of England. While this motivation makes a legitimate argument, there are other scholars who claim that Madoc's voyagers had made it to the New World and intermarried with local Native Americans, and that their Welsh-speaking descendants still live somewhere in the United States.
So,
There was a time
these group of people came from Europe and intermarried with the native population here, and now they have their group of people. So that's what I mean. Uh, they, the enemy looks just like us. Edom did marry white people. He did. It even says that. It says that he married two Canaanites, and to please his mother, he had one. He had some children with an Ishmaelite. So some of Edom can look close to us, but it just seems that Edom married more lighter skinned people, and Jacob married more darker skinned people. That doesn't mean that all of Jacob's going to be dark skinned. I'm just saying that on a whole, it seems like they married more natural people, and Edom married more giants.
that pre-Columbian
Oh, and by the
Viking
way, he had a son with a concubine from the Kenites, who were cave dwellers, and that son was Amalek.
voyages were also dismissed by academia until evidence Viking settlements in the Americas proved the Icelandic legends to be true. That said, these alleged Welsh Indians have been credited by some to have constructed a number of landmarks throughout the Midwestern United States, with speculation connecting Madoc's descendants with sites such as Devil's Backbone, located on the Ohio River at 14 Mile Creek near Louisville, Kentucky.
Now, I'm not saying that they didn't build that, but I am saying that there are two different Welsh people. There are two different Native Americans. There are two different South Americans. There are two different Caribbean Indians or Taino Indians. There are two different Europeans. And I'm talking about two different, I'm really just talking about the Jacobites and the Edomites. There are two different. Edom looks like us. They marry different people, so they're not going to look like us today, like that, but they still kind of look like us. Especially if they marry back into us. You can't tell who's who. So, I don't know how you're going to be able to tell, but hopefully I'm going to be able to articulate how deep this runs. So let's continue. We got a lot to cover.
Devil's Backbone is a large formation and peninsula that was formed as glaciers melted following the last ice age. According to local legend, on this bedrock ridge once stood a stone fortress that was built by Welsh explorers led by Prince Madoc sometime in the 12th century. President Thomas Jefferson considered Devil's Backbone to be one of the most important archaeological sites in the United States. But
this is very, very important. Listen to this and read what's on the screen.
It has yet to be studied thoroughly by archaeologists. This Los Angeles Times article from 1989 says, quote, in 1799, early settlers found 6 skeletons clad in breastplates bearing a Welsh coat of arms. Indian legends told of yellow-haired giants who settled in Kentucky, southern Indiana, southern Ohio, and Tennessee, a region they called the Dark and Forbidden Land.
So there you go. Am I the one that's saying that these giants are white people? The Indians are saying that. I'm not saying that. Because they know better. They've seen them. They even wrote them down as being white. They're not black. Some of them can be black, but all the bones they find here, these are not bones of so-called black people or melanated people. These are the bones of red and blonde-haired beings with blue eyes. What black person you see looking like that? You'll see that look maybe in the Pacifics, but that's because everything came from the Pacifics. But are those the giants? Who are the giants? Let's focus on who are the giants, and who did Edom marry? He married the giants.
Early settlers in the Ohio Valley encountered abandoned fieldstone forts on hilltops in the region. The stone architecture which was distinct compared to various other native ethnic cultures that settled in the area, followed solar alignments, and featured a number of unusual round and rectangular fieldstone structures. To this day,
Of course, this dude is kind of a racist idiot, so he thinks that anything worthwhile was built by white Europeans. So just remember this when listening to him. But he's talking about, oh, like, it actually used the sun. They actually had a clock here. Oh, it must have been a white person.
no professional archaeological investigation has been carried out there, most likely due to the political ramifications of what they might find. Suggestions of Madoc's landing locations are extensive, including Mobile, Alabama, Florida, Newfoundland, Newport, Rhode Island, Mexico, the Caribbean coast of South America, various islands in the West Indies, the Bahamas, Bermuda, and the mouth of the Amazon River. Although the folklore traditionally acknowledges that no settlers returned from the second expedition, the stories state that Madoc's colonists traveled up the vast river systems of North America, raising structures and encountering friendly and unfriendly tribes of Native Americans before finally settling down somewhere in the Midwest or the Great Plains. Some versions even speculate mixing with tribes of Maya, Aztec, and Inca. In all, at least 13 real tribes, 5 unidentified tribes, and 3 unnamed tribes have been suggested as Welsh Indians. Probably the most popular candidates were the Mandan people, a tribe that were said to differ from their neighbors in culture, language, and appearance. While Mandans technically still exist today, the tribe was decimated by a smallpox epidemic in 1837 to 1838, and the few remaining survivors banded with the nearby Hidatsa and Arikara tribes, so they're genetically not the same people. In 1841, a painter that specialized in Native American paintings, George Catlin, suggested the original Mandans were descended of Madoc and his fellow voyagers, citing that he had encountered and painted red-haired and blue-eyed Mandan Indians, and that the round Mandan bull boat was similar to the Welsh coracle, a type of paddle boat used in Wales and Ireland. He also thought the advanced architecture of the Mandan villages was likely learned from Europeans.
You see how he just slipped that in? Oh, the advanced architecture, well, that was European. But he was really trying to say, well, that's Aryan or that's white. But either way, he just told you. The Mandan people, originally, they were a red or blonde-haired, blue-eyed group of people. Who does that sound like? Sounds like Canaanites. Let's move on. I wanted to also play this video as well, Dr. Tracy McCarthy. This was, I'm just going to play it.
Park. And this particular group was also related to Powhatan. And when you go down further, you see it says civilization on the coastal plain. And then there's a further discussion related to...
I just noticed something. What is this? Did she say that? That's Powhatan? No, that's not it. Oh, they're extinct as a tribe. Of course. And you'll notice that there's always a connection with the Algonquin languages. The people of of the Northeast. I told you, haplogroup X. Who are these people? I don't know. But we're going to go over this because this is a dead giveaway as to who these people are.
Virginia, and indicating that the Doeg people lived in the coastal region of what is today known as Hampton Roads. And so this is related to the Potomac River. We've touched on this before, but what's odd about this whole thing is that this name Doeg, which is the name for this tribe or this ethnic group, is a biblical name. It's a very unusual spelling, so the likelihood that these are two distinct people is probably slim.
Dude, there is a tribe, an Indian tribe, on the East Coast named the Doeg Indians. And there's literally an Edomite named Doeg who was under King Saul.
And so you see here at 1673 in Strong's Concordance, and this is in the Hebrew, you see that Doeg is identified as an Edomite. And you can see the phonetic spelling down below, and you can also see further information related to the translation. And just in case you see other variations of this name, you can see that there are some other spellings with the Dowoeg, and then you see other forms and transliterations down below. And you can also see another notation related to a derivative, which is Daag. Now, we've touched on this before related to Madog, and so we're revisiting that because you can see here, not only is Doeg the name of an Indian group in the Americas, you also have this Doeg name being a biblical name, a Hebrew name, specifically Edomites, and then you have this Doeg surname, and here you see the history.
Bro, this is incredible to me. The Scottish Doeg surname is derived from the Gaelic Gilly Doeg, or Doeg, it's just E and I, means the son of the servant of Saint Madog. Oh my goodness, man, you're going to see some crazy connections.
And family information related to
and
Doeg.
By the way, Edom seems to have been in every single place that Israel was in. I'm able to spot both Israel and Edom in Japan, in Africa, in Scotland, in England, in North America, in South America, and in Mesoamerica. I'm able to spot them everywhere. They were everywhere we were.
And this name came out of Scotland and Ireland. And you can see that there is also a rooting in the Pict clans. And so this is very important because the Picts are known as the painted Picts. Also sometimes referred to by some historians as the painted Maori. And so we can get into that in another discussion. And so you can see here there's another indication related to Madog again. And you also see additional information down below related to the origins of this particular group. Now what's interesting is that they are related to this area known as Perth. And then you also have Perth in Australia. And so wherever there was this migration out of Europe, there was the transplanting of the name in these other parts of the world. And so it's sort of difficult to determine which.
Perth can also be a place in Antarctica, by the way. So it kind of lets me know, where was the real Roman civilization? Was it there? Because supposedly there's a lot of things that supposedly happened with the Roman Empire that they can't find in Europe. Same thing with the Egyptians. Same thing with the Greeks. Same thing with Mesopotamia. They find a little bit over there in Iraq. They don't find very much of it. They don't find very much of anything over there. Let's continue. This video is already long.
Came first, the chicken or the egg? Because someone could just as easily say that the name came from the other place and then it was transplanted into Europe. In this discussion related to the spelling variations, you can see all of these variations of this particular surname Doeg. And so you can see even including Dog, which is related to Caleb, by the way, the name Caleb. And then you also see some additional spellings with the Doag and Doak and Doack, and there are other spellings also. Now, this is considered an American Indian group. What's interesting is when you look at the global distribution of this particular surname, what you find is, yes, you have the highest distribution in the United States at 107. But then you see another indication where this surname is representing at least 41 individuals in England. And then you see the distribution that looks like those deportation itineraries. So you see the name in New Zealand, and you see the name in Australia, and you see the name in South Africa. We're going to wrap this up with an overarching question of who are your people? And this is a question for those of you who are identifying as American Indian, those of you who are identifying as West African in particular, and also those individuals who find that they have roots that involved deportations for their ancestors, going to South Africa or going to Australia or New Zealand. What are your roots? What is your nationality in terms of what's your ethnic group? Who are your people? And when you answer the question of who are your people, are you taking the time to dig a little deeper so that you can understand in a more holistic fashion who your people are and how they came to be wherever they are? When you have a name like Doeg, to just insist that this is an American Indian name without understanding or admitting or recognizing that this name is shared by a number of other people that do not necessarily identify as American Indian. And specifically, you're talking about those individuals who historically would have been classified as Hebrews, and specifically Edom. There seems to be a trend, a global trend, if you will, of those who their ancestry traces to this word Edom or Esau. There seems to be an attempt to obscure that identity. And so the question is why? What is that all about? Why would one hold on to the name of an ancestor that would trace back to Edom or Esau, but then at the same time pretend not to be that? And so that's food for thought and questions for individuals to start answering for themselves as you are doing your research on your ancestry. That's a question that you should be asking. Who are the ancestors, and what are the true and complete roots of these ancestors?
So, the reason why I wanted to show you that is because we truly don't know who's who. We are really mixed up. And the fact that Doeg can also mean K-Dog or Madog or Magog is all the same thing. It's all the same thing. So if you guys don't know, there was a war in between two groups of Indians, and that turned into multiple groups because we started to betray each other after a while. And then we just, pretty much intermarried with the Edomite tribes to go against our brothers. And the losers, they lost their tribal names, they lost everything. And the Edomites, or the cowardly Israelites, they got to stay on their tribe lands. Not all of them. I'm not trying to diss anyone who comes from tribal lands, but just know that's definitely a possibility, because your ancestors could be just runaway slaves who went to tribal lands. That could be that as well. But most of the so-called American Indians, they're not called American Indians. People of the Midwest, their condition is a bit different. But as on the East Coast, nah, man. Nah. I feel like you got black Air Force Ones if you on the East Coast and you're a so-called Indian, because I don't know who the hell you are now. So the Ohio Valley, do you guys realize how many giant bones were found here? It is astronomical how many giant bones were found here. You know what? Giant bones found North America. I showed you this map before. Everyone knows about it. Most of them are here. Moving on. The Doeg people were a Ta-Zenit. Ta-Zenit. That's what they're also called. They're also called Ta-Zenit. So Edom, these Edomites, these Amalekites, were also called Ta-Zenit. The Ta-Zenit tribes or peoples. And then there's a Welsh controversy, is a fringe theory has connected the Doeg to an apocryphal 12th century Welsh prince named Madoc, who, according to folklore, visited North America. The theory followed claims during the late 17th century that people calling themselves Doeg, living in the province of North Carolina, understood the Welsh language. Why would they hide this? See, I had a brother tell me, well, why would they hide if they were the giants? You think they'd be announcing it? No, they wouldn't. Because they're trying to hide that they're Edom. They're Edom. And let me show you, shout out to Lex Will for this, because this hit me like a box of bricks, bro. What does Ta mean? Ta is a Greek letter, right? Some sort of Greek meaning to it. Maybe some sort of Phoenician meaning to it. Roman, I don't know, but it has to do with that. Some Greek, Phoenician, or Roman connection. The Ta. Zen means a foreigner, or an antigen that is found in more than one species. But you can say that it's talking about an alien, strange, or guest. So Ta, Greeks, Romans, Phoenicians, Zen, foreigner, alien, strange. Ints are a race of beings. And what are they? They are giants. Giants. These are giants who come from Middle Earth. The word int was taken from the Old English int, meaning giant. Tolkien borrowed the word from a phrase in the Anglo-Saxons poems, the ruin and the maxims to, I'm not saying that, but this also means cunning work of giants, which describes Roman ruins. Bro, the connections get very deep. I'm gonna keep flowing, okay? Doeg the Edomite, he was what was it? A chief herdsman to Saul, king of Israel. Right? Let's keep flowing. Madog, also spelled Madog. And as we went over in, I believe it's part 3, where we talk about Magog actually being the son of Amalek. So who's Madog? Is he also the son of Amalek? He has a connection to Edom. They're called Doeg, right? So is Doeg an Amalekite? Let me see. I think we went over his voyage already. Yeah, we did. So we don't need to beat a dead horse. The Doeg Indians, a group of Virginia Indians referred to as the Doeg, but also as these other names, and occupied villages and settlements along the Potomac and Occoquan rivers by 1607. They included the Toxenin near the mouth of the Occoquan River. I said it 2 different ways, but I'm just showing you this real quick. So the wars that occurred in the 16th century, and you can see the sides, because now we're going to get pretty deep. And when you really notice, who are these against? And now the Pequot, they seem to have switched sides like over and over again. But look, the Navajo, they moved the Navajos to reservations. You know, the Pequot, I don't know, they could be like a mixture, or, you know, they were flipping sides. But the rest of these, all of these people, you know, these people pretty much got ramsacked by these people, the English, the Dutch, and the Iroquois. And you'll see the Iroquois come up time and time again. The Iroquois Confederacy. And then you have the Pequots, who seem to have joined them. After they were losing to them, now they seem to have joined them years later in King Philip's War. And the Mohican, or Mohegan. So just looking into these people, I just looked who they were. I looked them up, and I was just like, wow, they actually have a lot of connections. Let's go to this one first. So the Mohegans, you can even see how they look. They were in Connecticut, right? Let me see what else. You have the Pequots. These people were also in Connecticut. But it says the Pequots and the Mohegans were formerly a singular group, but the Mohegans split off in the 17th century as the Pequots came to control much of Connecticut. Okay, so I didn't even know that. That's interesting. So, So, okay, so I'm confused though, because it said that they split off in this, and oh, okay, I got it. The 17th century is actually the 1600s. So they split. The Mohegans and the Pequots split, and the Pequots were defeated. And then I guess the Pequots decided to join back with the Mohegans. Let me see. Let me go to. Okay, no, I have these out of order. That's why I'm kind of like moving like this. Give me 1 second. Okay, so he mentioned the Mandan tribe, right? And they were a tribe around the Great Plains, and you can see how they look, North Dakota, right? Now, the speakers of the Mandan were a Sayoan language. So I looked that up, right? Looked up the Sayoan languages, and the Sayoan languages are related to the Kataban languages. And you can see where they are. They're centralized mainly around the Mississippi, and some over here in these lands right here. And it's funny because in Boston or New England, there's a place called Basra there. I'm not BSing you. There's literally a place called Basra, Connecticut. Where are all these tribes? Where are all these Edomite tribes? Connecticut, New England, that area. Right? Now, Kataban languages, or Eastern Souan languages. So these languages are over here, particularly in Connecticut, in that area, right? And the reason why I went to that is because they have subdivisions. They have these, and they have these. So for whatever reason, these people are related to these people all the way over here regarding their language. They speak the same language. But who are the Kataban, or the Kataban people? Let's see. The Catawba people are also known as the Esau, Eswa, or Esau, or Iswa Indians. This is what they're also known. Look, because this is another way how to say their tribe. They took this out because this was here before. So I guess people were making videos and they didn't like that, but they were called the Esau Indians. And they are related to who? The Mandans and the Mohegans. And we're going to get back to the Iroquois again. But just know, all these people are related. It's not a coincidence that these people are against these people, all these tribes, and enslaved all these tribes. But these people could look black. Some of them could look black. Some of them could look just like us. That's why I don't get into blackness. And people will call the Navajo, they're Mongoloids, the Indians were black. You're an idiot. That's just that simple. These are the Catawba people. Look at them. Look at these people. These are the people who won and are behaving like they are Native Americans, which they are. Believe it or not. They are. But some of them look just like us. Why? Because Edom looks like us. Edom looks like us. Edom looks like us. Moving along, I don't know who the Pequots are necessarily. I just don't know, so I'm not going to touch on them. But I find it interesting that they're dressing like Romans. Why are they dressing like Romans? And they have a red dragon on the top of their head. The same way how Prince Madoc did. I forgot to show you that actually. This is their symbol, the red dragon. Why? What is that about? The Mohegan people, how do they look? These just look like white people. But this could be how Edom looked before. This literally could be how Edom looks. For all I know. I don't know. But it would make a hell of a lot of sense if Edom just looks like us. And maybe a little lighter. And I'm not saying that we can't be lighter, of course. We can be lighter. But, no, of course, these people are just straight up white people, but why were they so inclined to marry with these people? Because it's almost like there are two people coming together who are the same people who are removed. The same thing happened with the Northern and Southern Kingdom. How did all of these different looking Indians mesh so well with these Indians who are here? Unless they're the same people. That's my point. That's why I'm like, why are you calling these people Mongoloids? We look a certain way. They look a certain way. There goes your Mohegan. Anytime they make a movie about the Israelite Indians, like, Emperor's New Groove and stuff like that, they'll always put these little slights. Oh, Cusco can't share. King David can't share. And if they have another if they have another movie, then they'll have the white Spaniard marrying the indigenous woman. And they're all over him. You have it all in the cartoons. It's disgusting. But to the victor goes the spoils. Who owns the Mohegan Sun Casino? Mohegan Sun Casino is an American casino with 364,000 square feet of gambling space, operated by the Mohegan Tribe, the winners of the war. They are the winners. They are Edom. They are Amalek. This is how they look. The Iroquois, oh boy, and look where they are. you know, around Canada, New York, that area. So when all these Mormons are trying to say, oh no, the Book of Mormon didn't happen in Mesoamerica, it actually happened in the East Coast. It all happened in the East Coast because they're trying to input themselves. Those are the white Indians or the Edomite Indians, because not all of them are white. Some of them are dark just like us and look just like us. Let me play this video. I'm not the whole thing, just the first few minutes.
Almost President DeWitt Clinton to give a speech at their annual meeting. Clinton took them up on their offer and used the opportunity to deliver a 90-minute monologue, arguing that the Iroquois were, in his words, the Romans of the Western world.
Wow. Bro. I just saw this right before I started recording and I was just couldn't believe it. Do you know what he just told you? The Romans of the Western world. I told you. These people look like Romans, right? Why? Because they are the Romans. They are the Romans. They found all these Roman artifacts. Go look at my Romans in Brazil series. It's on my playlist. They found all these artifacts here. They found a lot more in North America, on the East Coast. Like, this is crazy, bro. They are the Romans. They're Edom. The Iroquois, I'm not saying every single one of them, because our people had to intermarry with them, had to do it. Well, they not really had to, don't have to do anything. They gave up. And if they wanted to survive, that's what happened. Or they gave up their nationality of being an Indian. I'm sure they didn't want to do that. So, what, be called white, be called European, or be called African? So people made their choices. I'm not saying every single one of them are. But a good amount, not the majority like my brother said, because he was telling me how he thinks a good amount of them are Edom. And I thought about it before I made this video. I was like, no, he's right. They are. Because a lot of them have a lot more saying power. And a lot of intermarrying occurred between the European men and the native women. But what type of native women? Some of them are people, but I think the majority of them were their own people who could look like us, but doesn't matter.
Clinton's overall argument was that New York academia was not spending enough time studying the Iroquois Confederacy. This was true. The Iroquois definitely deserved some serious scholarship, but not for the reasons given by DeWitt Clinton. It was a common trope at the time to draw this artificial link between the Iroquois and the Romans.
Look at how he's speaking, such a dismissive way. This guy, he's being really ignorant. What makes it artificial and fictitious? What are you talking about? They found Roman artifacts here. Stupid. But anyway, I'm not going to dwell on this. I just wanted to show you that because I did not know that. I didn't know that they literally were calling them the Romans. They are the Romans. Look at how they look. Look at how these people look. They look like Romans. They look like Romans, bro. Look at this person's face. This looks like a Sephardic Jew. Don't believe me? This is a Sephardic Jew. This is an Iroquois Indian. This is a Sephardic Jew. I rest my case, bro. They're Amalek. Look at this face. They're Amalek. This is an Iroquois Indian. Naked, hair looking like that. We're not supposed to make our hair like this. We're not supposed to shave the corners of our head. We're not supposed to bald our heads. So why are they doing it? They look like Romans because they are the Romans. They are the Romans. They're the original Romans. Rome was here. And look at these people. These people are nasty. I'm just going to play this video.
A lot of different groups. The genes become more prevalent within that group.
Put another way, in 1400, the Ashkenazi Jewish population numbered around 20,000. And up through the last century, Jews intermarried out of the faith at a rate of only 0.5% per generation. So for all intents and purposes, the over 11 million Eastern European Jews living today descend from just 20,000 people.
That's disgusting. There was a lot of cousin banging for centuries. And because of that, you're going to see how many diseases they have.
Let me give you the example. If a trait is in the population that 1 in 500 people carries an abnormal form of a gene, and that population of 500 is suddenly driven down to 50, but among those 50 people is that one person who's a carrier. When that population expands again, the new ratio is 1 in 50, not 1 in 500.
Now some of these...
So they have to literally have these screening tests so they don't pretty much get with a close relative. These people have issues, bro. You think these are the chosen people? Are you stupid? Look, this is how they look. This is how the so-called Sephardic people look. Not the Ashkenaz, but the Sephardic. They look similar to those so-called North American Indians. Not completely, but similar. Right? They look similar to them. I think that's about it. I think that's all I have. No. I have something. I have some icing for the cake. So, have you guys read the Book of Mormon? Have you asked yourself why Amalekites are in the Book of Mormon? But look, unlike these two groups, no origin appears to be directly stated for the Amalekites. But it is worth noting that according to the words of Moroni, there arose false prophets and false preachers, who were punished as the law allowed, and some of them joined the ranks of the Lamanites. So, our people, the tribe of Manasseh, were intermarrying with all these different nations who were here. They're confused as to why the Amalekites are in North America. They're confused, so they're like, oh, that must be a mistranslation. No, they got it right. They're Amalekites because some of their lands are there. So, was the Book of Mormon, when it was talking about the wars that was occurring in between Indian tribes, was it really talking about the Romans versus the Jews? Were they fighting their own Romans? And they didn't call them Romans, because why the hell would they call them Romans? They called them by their names. Amalek. It just hit me. This whole, like, bro, all praises to the Most High. I'm not this smart, man. I'm not this smart. I hope you guys got something out of this, man. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Let me know what your opinion is in the comment section. Peace be to you and yours. Selah Kalah.